Alright, hey guys, today we're going to be focusing on, looking at continuing on our exponents, right? And we're going to continue looking at exponents and how they work and what they do. And we're going to be looking at two special types of exponents today. We're going to be looking at the exponent of 0, and then we're going to be looking at negative exponents, which most of us have never really dealt with before, negative exponents. So today we're going to, our learning target today is I can evaluate rational numbers with the exponent of 0 and negative exponents. And demonstrate this. On the mastery check. So the first one we're going to look at is 2 to the 0 up here. So what is 2 to the 0? If you have an exponent of 0, what does that mean, 2 to the 0? Well, if we don't really understand 2 to the 0, maybe we go back to what we do understand, right? So what is 2 squared? Well, that's 2 times 2. It's 4. Well, what is 2 to the first, or just 2? A lot of times we don't write the first on there, just 2. Well, that's 2. Well, then what would 2 to the 0 be? Logically, what would make sense? Okay? What would make sense? What would 2 to the 0 be? And then we're going to move on and we're going to talk about what would 2 to the negative first be. If we go to the other direction, what would 2 to the negative? What would 2 to the negative first be? So we went 4, 2. What do you think it might be? 2 to the 0. And it's going to be 1. Okay? Half of 4 is 2. Half of 2 is 1. What's half of 1? Well, it's a half. And that's exactly what 2 to the negative first is. It's 1 half. And what's a half of a half? Well, 2 to the negative second is 1 fourth. Now we're going to start learning this pattern. So 2 to the 0 is 1. Anything to the 0 is 1. We see that same thing with 3. So 3 to the 0 is also 1. 3 squared is 9. It's not a half because 3 to the first is 3. It's a third because we're dealing with 3. So 3 to the third, well, here would have been 27. A third of 27 is 9. A third of 9 is 3. A third of 3 is 1. A third of a 1 is 1/3. And we could keep going and say that this would be 1/9, 3 to the negative second. And we're going to keep focusing on that theme as we go throughout this lesson. So, what is anything to the power of 0? And anything to the power of 0 is always 1. What is a power again? Well, a power, remember, is this entire thing. This is our base, the 3. Sorry, guys. And this is our exponent. So, what's 9 to the 0? What would 9 to the 0 be? 9 to an exponent of 0. What do you think? 1. What would 30 to the 0 be? 30 to the 0. 1. What would anything to the 0, x to the 0, anything to the 0, it doesn't matter what the base is. Anything to the 0, any number to the 0 is always 1. So then if we evaluate an expression like this, if we evaluate this, what is 4 to the 0 times 4 to the third? So this is our product property, right? Where you have two bases that are 4s. We have multiplication. We add the exponents, 0 plus 3, so this is just going to be 4 to the third. And the reason being is, what is 4 to the 0? 4 to the 0 is 1. So this is like saying 1 times 4 times 4 times 4. So this is going to be equivalent to just 4 to the third, because it's saying 1 times 4 times 4 times 4. So that makes sense. Because otherwise, this is 4 to the 0, which is equivalent to 1. There's no 4's here. It's a 1. Otherwise, remember, this is different than 4 to the first. If there was no exponent here, that's like 4 to the first. So that is different. Let me know if you have questions about this. Anything to the 0 is 1. Alright, now we're going to talk about negatives. What do we do with negatives? And so, negative exponents are always kind of one of those topics that get a little tricky for students because it's new, it's different. A negative exponent is something that most students in the 8th grade haven't really seen or dealt with before. So, what do we do with a negative exponent? Well, earlier, remember that pattern we did when I said 2 to the third is 8, right? 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 2 to the second is 4. 2 times 2. 2 to the first is 2. 2 to the 0 we just established is 1. And then we said, well, what's the pattern here? Half of 8 is 4. Half of 4 is 2. Half of 2 is 1. So half of 1 would be 2 to the negative first. It must be a half. Okay? Well, how do we do this? What's the rule? How does that happen? Okay, and what happens is there's a few ways to prove it. There's a few ways to show this. But, guys, what is happening here is we can make this a fraction, right? You can take this number, this whole number, you can make it into a fraction. So what we do is we flip it over and we make the exponent positive to get 1/2. So negative in terms of math means opposite. Remember, negative is opposite. So 2 to the negative third is 2 to the negative third over 1. So we flip it over. And we make the exponent positive. So 2 to the negative third is 1 over 2 times 2 times 2, or 1/8. 2 to the negative third is equal to 1/8. It's very small. When you have a negative exponent, it's a small value. It's a fraction. It becomes a fraction or a small value. 2 to the negative 8. When you have a negative exponent, flip the fraction and make the exponent positive. Flip the fraction and make the exponent positive. Flip the fraction, make the exponent positive. So let's run through some examples here. 3 to the negative fourth. So 3 to the negative fourth, we're going to flip this over. So it becomes 1 over 3. We're going to make the fraction positive. Or sorry, the exponent positive. So that becomes 1 over 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, or 1 over 81. 3 to the negative fourth is 1 over 81. 1 over 3, we flip the fraction. So 3 over 1. We make the exponent positive. Remember, if you have an exponent on the outside, you put it to both the numerator and the denominator. So 3 times 3 over 1 times 1. So 9 over 1. So we just flipped the fraction and made it positive. 6 made the exponent positive, so we flip it. So it becomes 1 over 6 squared. 1 over 36. 6 times 6 is 36. If you're really having trouble or questions about this, please let me know. I'd be glad to help you guys, because I understand this is a new concept. I understand this is something that you probably haven't seen before. Alright, let's look at this one down here. So, we take this fraction, we flip it over, we change the exponent to a positive. So we have 5 times 5 times 5 over 2 times 2 times 2. So we have 25 times 5, 125. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 125 over 8. Alright guys, now you have some partner work. So if you can find a partner, I'd like you to work through these with a partner. Then we have some examples down here that I'm going to show. So if you have, go find a partner and try these. Pause the video and do that, and then we're going to come back and do these examples right here. Alright, welcome back. Hopefully, guys, you had a chance to do that partner work. Now we're going to talk about a few of these examples. So which of these shows 3 to the negative 4th in standard form? So remember, so this is 3 to the negative 4th. So we flip it over, change the exponent to positive. So that's 1 over 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So that would be 1 over 9 times 9, so 81. 1 over 81. Here we're going to have to do a couple things. So now this is our product property. So we have to add our exponents, negative 3 plus 8. So it gives us 5 to the 5th. Negative 3 plus 8, positive 5 exponential form. It's just positive 5 because there's more positives than negatives. So let me add those. Alright, you guys are doing great. Keep it up. We're almost through this lesson. Alright, example 3. Simplify each of the following by filling in the blank. So this goes back to our properties kind of we worked on last time. So same basis, multiplying. So 3 plus negative 3. 3 plus negative 3 is what? 0. So this would 2 to the 0 would be 1. This is power to a power. So we're going to multiply these and we're going to get 2 to the negative 9th. Negative 9th, because a positive times a negative is a negative. I'm going to keep going on this. How would we simplify this? Well, we'd make it 1 over 2, because we never really want to leave it as a negative exponent. 1 over 2 to the positive 9th. And then this last one down here, this is our quotient property. So we're going to subtract. So that's negative 2 minus negative 3. Negative 2 minus negative 3. Keep, add, opposite. Negative 3 plus negative 2 plus positive 3, so that's a 1, which is just 7. 7 to the first, which is 7. Alright guys, I'm going to sign off for today. This is lesson 3.5.